We're going to do a quick little video on how to set up and fully launch a Next.js starter kit made by Mickey on Twitter. He just joined Convex, but he made this really sick Next.js starter kit using Neon, Polar, BetterAuth, and a bunch of other stuff and cool frameworks. And we're just going to go ahead and set it up from 0 to 100. So let's jump in. So what you're first going to want to do is you're going to want to go over to the GitHub and over to code, and we're going to clone this repository. So just type git clone and then paste the repository URL, then press enter. I went ahead and cloned it and opened it up in Cursor. So in Cursor, we can first see that we have a .env.example, and this is our example environment variable. So if we look through really quick, we've got a next public app URL. That essentially is just whatever the app URL is that you're going to be maintaining. So after we set this up and decided on a product name, for production, we will change that to whatever the app URL is actually. Database URL, that's with Neon Postgres. Super easy to grab that. I'll show you that. Cloudflare R2, it's essentially storage uploads. So it's very easy for you to be able to configure and upload storage. So that way you don't have to worry about maintaining other services and everything's already kind of handled. Auth is BetterAuth. This is the easiest part. You essentially just, for local development at least, type out whatever string you want, because it just has to be a random string, which essentially salts the encryption keys that BetterAuth uses to verify logins and user signups. Google OAuth, I'll show you how to get those keys. Payments from Polar. Subscriptions, those are the subscriptions and product IDs from Polar. And the OpenAI key if we want to use generative features in our application. So we're going to go ahead and jump off and get started with Neon, which is going to be our database provider. You can go to console.neon.tech. We're going to go up here and click New Project. We're going to call this Next.js Starter Kit. Postgres version is 17. You can leave it just like that. Leave AWS as the cloud service provider. And for the region, you're going to want to select the region that's close enough or the closest to your Vercel region where we're going to be deploying it. Click Create. If you just click this button right here to click Connect, you can get your connection string. Instead of grabbing our production branch, we're actually going to want to go ahead and grab the development branch connection string. That way we can separate our production and development environments. If we go back over to Cursor, create a new environment variable by clicking over here, new file, .env. We can go over here, copy, paste everything. And for the database URL, we're going to paste our Neon Postgres connection string. For Cloudflare R2, what we're going to want to do is go to cloudflare.com, log in with your account, and then you'll be able to scroll down over here to the side and find R2 object storage. And we'll go ahead and create a bucket. We'll call this Next.js SaaS Starter. Yep, you can take all the defaults. Then jump over to settings. So we need an access key ID and a secret access key from Cloudflare. When you're in the R2 dashboard, which is R2 object storage, then under overview, you can click this API button and click manage API tokens. Then we're going to create a new one called Next.js SaaS Starter. And we'll just let it have object read and write. We don't want admin read and write because then that enables it to have access to every single bucket and storage item on your account. We don't want that. We can apply it to a specific bucket, and we created a bucket called Next.js SaaS Starter, TTL, IP addresses, that's all good. And it will generate our access key ID, which we can paste right here. Our secret access key, which we can paste right there. And if we go back over to R2 object storage under overview, we can see that this is our bucket name, Next.js SaaS Starter, which we will paste under bucket name. And then we just need to grab our Cloudflare account ID. There it is. So if you go to your account home and it says your email address, .com account, and click right here, you can click copy account ID. Paste it just like that. One more thing, you want to make sure when you're in your R2 dashboard, Under your R2 object storage and then your object that you created in R2, you're going to want to make sure that public development URL is enabled. You just type allow right there. So that way you can actually access your files and stuff like that. So now that we've set up Cloudflare R2, we can go down here to the BetterAuth secret. You can just do a random string hash generator and just go here. You can copy this, paste it, make sure it's all on one line. It doesn't really matter what your BetterAuth secret is. It just has to be something random and secret that you don't share with anyone else, because that is essentially what's signing all of your passwords and everything like that that's stored with BetterAuth. Google OAuth. This one's a little bit tricky, but if you follow along, you should be able to get it understood pretty easily. If we just Google OAuth account setup, you've normally got to click on like a developer link, and then you can get access. There we go. It always takes me like 2 clicks to get there. So you're going to want to go to console.cloud.google.com/APIs/credentials. Then we are going to create credentials. We are going to create an OAuth client ID. This is important. This is what allows users to be able to sign in with Google to your app. We're going to call it a web application. We're going to call this Next.js SaaS starter. For authorized JavaScript origins, you're just going to type. Now remember, this is going to be for your development environment. So we should actually probably add dev right here. We'll call this HTTPS or HTTP, sorry, for localhost. Localhost 3000. And then the authorized redirect URIs. This is something that BetterAuth supplies. So it's under API, auth, callback, Google. All that does is basically when your BetterAuth instance is trying to authenticate with Google, Google needs a way, if Google's over here and BetterAuth initiates the connection, Google needs a way that it can talk back to your application. So that route right there is essentially like a webhook listener that Google knows is valid and true. So that way it can pass back the session information and your account information. So that way you can actually use that in the application. Then click create. And now it presents us with our client ID, which we will copy, paste there, and our client secret, which we will paste there. Under Polar, we can go to polar.sh. And I've already got a test account set up here, but you'll probably need to go and set up your account, maybe add some tax registration information. But other than that, once you get to an account home like this, you should be good to go. So we're going to need the Polar access token. Under settings, developers, you can click new token. We'll select all. We'll call this Next.js SaaS starter. Expiration, no expiration, just because we're developing. Click create. That's our token. Just like that. Polar success URL. This is good. You can just leave that. And then we're just going to need a webhook secret. So under settings, webhooks, you're going to need to click add endpoint. So for the webhook, we are just going to be using our production app endpoint for the webhook, and we can kind of debug and figure out if we need to do something differently after we get it set up. So since we're going to call this Next.js SaaS starter, I'll just call my production environment HTTPS next saas.exon.dev .api auth polar. So we'll just go ahead and select all of these and then click create. And that's going to give you a webhook secret, which we are going to take, bring back over to the environment, paste it right there. Then we are going to go over to products, click new product. We'll call this Next Starter. So we're only going to have one subscription. We're just going to call it Next Starter of $20 a month. So we just created a simple $20 a month subscription. We need the product ID, which is probably the slug. And then we will just call this Next Starter. And that should be good. And then for OpenAI, Open API key, go to platform.openai.com. Then you can go over to dashboard, then API keys, create a new secret key. We'll just call this Next SaaS Starter, create a secret key, copy it, paste it. And then there we go. So we have now fully set up all of our environment variables with all of our different services, and we can begin to start the app and begin development. You're going to want to open a terminal. I'm going to use Bun as my package manager of choice. So all I'll type is just Bun I. That will install all of our different various packages. Once that's done, we can now run Bun run. Actually, we'll probably got to set up the database. We're using Drizzle, I think. We are. So that means we're going to need to run bunx drizzle kit generate. That is going to take our schema and actually generate it. Then we're going to run bunx drizzle kit push. And that's actually going to take our local schema, which is in code, which is right here, and actually push that schema to Neon. So if we go back to Neon, and we do a look at our tables, we can now see that we have account, session, subscription, user, and verification tables in Neon. So our app is ready to go. Now just run Bun run dev, and this is actually executing our app, so we can now interact with it. You get a localhost 3000. There we go. So the app is now running, and if you click get started, we are now brought to the sign-in page. We'll click login with Google. We'll click my Google account, and there we go. We are now logged in. We can say, hey, and a response should stream back. There we go. What model are you? And it will respond. It's an OpenAI GPT-4 model is the one that they're using. If we upload some data, if we find a random image on my downloads, we can upload it. And let's see if we can copy the URL in preview. So since we have uploaded the image, we are getting this error that says error 404 object not found. So after looking the code a little bit, there's one error in it. You've got to grab that public URL we created earlier. So it's going to begin with pub-something, copy it. And then you're going to want to paste that in place of whatever the public URL was before. Looks like he accidentally hard-coded one of his environment variable values, which is okay, but I'll be sure to open an issue on that. Oh, one more thing. We got to make sure that that URL that we added is added to our next config, so that way it can properly display the image. Otherwise, you'll get an invalid source prop. So if we click upload again, upload image, there you go. The image now displays. So this final tab is just essentially what would be required if you wanted to payment gate or lock down some part of your application using a subscription. So this is basically, you can't access this content until you subscribe with Polar. So if you click subscribe now, it would bring you to the page where you could configure all of like the pros and cons of your subscription. And then when they click get started, it would take them to Polar and ask them to check out. Under settings, we've got access to the billing information, the profile information, so they could change their name, their photo, or whatnot. But basically, that's all that this starter kit has to offer. It's a pretty great starter kit if you just want to get your app off the ground. You can follow this guide to set up your environment variables, and then you can honestly just use AI for the rest of it. Tell the AI to be like, hey, can you add this feature or this feature or this feature? It's exactly what another indie dev did, Jack Fricks, where he was creating his application called Postgres. He started with, I think it was a Ship Fast by Mark Liu, and he just iterated on it over and over again. And if you look now, it is so mature. He has done an incredible job on it. He's done so much work, but that just shows how easy it is for you to be able to get up and start building something. And you don't even have to put any money down. You don't even have to buy some fancy starter kit or subscription pack. You can just get started with a simple starter kit like this and go from there. Thank you for watching the video. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll try to post as many links as I can in the video description or as a comment if this is posted on X. Feel free to tag me if you have any questions, or tag Mickey. He's the maintainer of this starter kit. But yeah, hope you enjoyed, and happy coding.